just getting my computer set up. Can you hear me? Because I don't have my microphones. If anybody is having issues, let me know. The iPad is real close to my face and I turned the volume up. So hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I thought I had them and I don't. But okay. Good morning, Barb. As you can tell, I'm at home. Barb is at the shop. Yes, you can hear me. Okay, good. I swore I brought them home and I'll probably find them later, but they're not here. So, all right. So I'm gonna let everybody come on. Good morning, everyone. Some of you I will see later because we have a virtual retreat later today. I have Lamb Chop with me and Roxy is next to me. So since I'm at home, if anyone makes a noise, my dogs might bark. So I am forewarning you now. I can mute myself on Zoom, but I can't when I am on YouTube. Good morning from Honolulu. Donalyn, how is the weather in Honolulu? Make us jealous. Tell us what it's like. It's supposed to be like 50 here today. So, I mean, that's pretty good for March 1st. So, Beth is here. Everyone's here. All right. So, I've got some updates for you. I have some new events coming up that we're going to talk about. And then we're also going to do a little recap on Daytona. My first quilt show in 4 years. 4 years. 4 years seems like a lifetime ago, but it also doesn't seem like it was that long ago. It's hard. It's kind of one of those things. Oh, thank you. So before we get into that, funny story about my glasses. First of all, I can't find my other glasses. They are MIA. I have been in 3 different vehicles in the past week, and I have no idea where I put my glasses. They're somewhere. I own a lot of glasses because I buy them from Warby Parker. I get asked that a lot, and they're like $99 a pair. And I figure if I have to wear these on my face, I'm going to accessorize like I do my jewelry, and I'm going to have different pairs. But what happens is I end up wearing the same pair over and over again, my favorite little 2 colored ones, and then I don't know where they went. I think they're in my car. Yes, face jewelry. Perfect. I think they're in my car, but I have no idea. We were in Daytona. We had the Suburban, which I keep calling the wrong name. It's a Suburban. And then we got, then I had to go get my car. And then after I got my car, I was in a moving truck helping Eric move stuff yesterday. And then, yeah, so I don't know where any of my glasses are. So, okay, Becky Hannah is here. I was just chatting with her. So I'm in a great mood because we were laughing about things that mean nothing to anybody in the world. Get yourself a friend like that and have voice conversations, even better than texting because it's fun to hear their laugh. Let's see, Donalyn, it's probably already in the low 70s with a bit of wind, but cool. Donalyn, I would take low 70s right now. We had pre-spring. It's the teaser spring that we get usually in February. We had a beautiful spring for like a week. Yeah, and then it went away and it was 30 degrees yesterday. And lucky me, I got to help move heavy pieces of equipment, but I got to use the truck with the lift gate thing, so that was fun. Anyway, excuse me, that is my life. That is my weird life right now. So, all right, before we talk about Daytona, and if you have questions, as always, I am here. I'm happy to answer them for you. I have a couple of updates, and I have a couple of things pending that I can't tell you yet. I don't want to tell you if something isn't set in stone, but hopefully I'll know soon. So we're going to go a little, sorry, I got an itch. We're going to go a little backwards because instead of telling you how Daytona was, and if I feel like I want to sign up for more shows, I'm going to tell you that, yes, I signed up for some more shows, but we have some things we need to discuss. So anyway, first thing that is set in stone, I'm probably going backwards on this, but whatever. I can do whatever I want. Jacksonville, Florida, September 19th to the 21st. We will be there. I signed up for Jacksonville Quilt Fest. I have heard of this show for many, many years, but it never fit into my schedule. And now that I have a more flexible schedule and I don't travel quite as much, I thought, sure, why not? And, excuse me, the amount of people that were so over the top excited to hear that we were potentially going to Jacksonville got me all excited. So I signed up yesterday. So we will be at the Jacksonville Quilt Fest. I have not updated the website yet with all these dates. I will probably next week. So that is number one. Working backwards, we will go to the Alaska cruise, which is coming up in June. I've mentioned this many times and it's on my website, but if you are thinking about it, we will, there is still room. So definitely, if you're considering going to Alaska, sign up now rather than later. You can still do the payments and get yourself on there. Mary wants to know the dates again. So Jacksonville Quilt Fest is September 19th through the 21st. And I always get a little weird when I'm that confident. Let me just check my email. It is, yep, the 19th through the 21st. I will have details on that on the website soon enough, but we will be doing that show. Alaska Cruise is June 10th through the 17th. There's still a few spots. Lucky me, I got to see Kayla and Sarah from Salty Sews when I was in Florida, which was a nice little surprise. I wasn't sure if I was going to see them. So it's always nice to, to see familiar faces. And Kayla said there's still a few spots open on the cruise. So if you're thinking about it, get on it now. I will be there. Eric will be there if you care that Eric's coming. I don't know what Eric's going to do while we're there, but he'll be there. So, Becky, that might interest you. I'm just saying. So, backwards. Okay, exciting. This literally was just decided this week. Barb, if you're still watching, surprise, Barb doesn't even know this because I haven't seen Barb since the Friday before I left. We are going to have a spring open house. Now, we've 2 years in a row, we've had our October open house at the shop, which is super fun. We always have, snacks and lots of things to look at. And it's always more fun to shop when you can see the cork and touch it and all that. But we decided, Eric and I, that we're going to do a spring open house because I was looking at the schedule and I don't have a lot booked for March and April. And I thought, well, let's jam pack it full of things. Mary, Barb may not even be watching anymore. She might have to find this out on Monday, but it's okay. So we're going to have a spring open house at my shop April 27th and 28th. Okay, she is watching. So it's the last weekend of April. I will put information in the newsletter, which will hopefully be going out next week. I have a virtual retreat this weekend, so that's where my focus is. Sitting around sewing and having fun. That's what I'm doing for the next 2.5 days. But we're going to have an open house. The local guild has a quilt show that weekend, and I didn't know, but it's actually a few miles from the shop. So I was thinking, if we're going to have an open house in the spring, because we've been kind of talking about it for a little bit now, why not have it when it would be really convenient for everybody? They would be able to stop by if they're going literally to the next town over, like 8 miles away. I didn't realize that's where it was, but I was thinking, well, that would just make it convenient for everybody. So we're going to do that. Barb's probably going to the quilt show, so I'll just have to make Eric or my mom work, but that's totally fine. So that will be on the website. I will also put it in the newsletter, which I will get out soon. We have some other things pending, so I'm not going to tell you anything else because until I have given people money and they have said, yes, you're coming, I don't want to tell you anything and get you excited about something I'm not doing. So we do have some more things. I have a couple of little vacations / fun stuff coming up in March and April, but those you will have to find out at the last minute because there are certain people that I don't want to know about them because I might be surprising them. So I'm keeping my lips sealed, but fun stuff is coming. So, all right, a couple more things before we talk about Daytona. I have been getting this question a lot lately, so I just want to address it for everybody. So hopefully everybody hears it, or a lot of people that need the information hear it. And it is about finding your past purchases and downloads and things on my website. We do not have an accounts page. You can't sign up for an account and go and check things. That is not my doing. The website host, the domain, took that away many, many years ago. I have no idea why. They make decisions for whatever reason, and I don't know what the reason is. So if you have purchased something and you can't remember what color cork it was, or if you have bought a pattern and you can't remember how to download it, the best thing that you can do to help yourself out and also to help me out is to save your receipts. On your receipt up at the top, so there's your address and your shipping information. Right underneath that is your download. So if you bought a pattern, you need to re-download it. That's where you're going to find that information. You can download it as many times as you want. If you're wondering what color cork you bought, it'll all be on there. If you don't have the receipt, I can look for you, but here is something odd that happened this morning. Literally this morning. One of the ladies in our virtual wanted to work on something. She was like, I can't find my pattern. Can you help me? Like, can you check in your order history? I know for a fact that she has made this pattern. I watched her make this pattern. For some reason, it was not coming up in the order history. When you put in a name, it doesn't just give you, it gives you that person towards the top, and then it will like, it'll say, oh, you're looking for somebody named Linda. Here's other Lindas. I'm like, that's not the one I wanted. It's not hard for me to do, but it's not always as easy as you think it might be. So bottom line, when you place an order, keep your receipt. Keep them in a little folder. Keep your downloads, especially. I will do the best that I can, but remember, I'm not always here to be able to check things. When we're on the road, it's hard, and you know, we're on different time zones. Some of you work at nighttime. I go to bed at like 8 o'clock. So I want to help you out as best as I can, but I'm just not always, I can't always do what you need quick. That's all. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going. I'm going to drink more coffee. So hold on a second. Okay. Oh, some of you saw this because somebody posted it. I have some little earrings, little scissors. Those will be coming to the website again, hopefully next week. I also have necklaces that match, and I have little sewing machines. I didn't do the sewing machines as earrings. I only did them as necklaces. I have one here. Hold on. It's not finished, but you can see it. The little sewing machine. And so it just has chain on either side. So those will be coming very, very soon. If I need sewing machine earrings, I will do that as well. Let me know what you want. Those are coming as soon as I can get them. So you've probably been hearing me say that a lot lately, that I will get it. I will do it. My personal life is chaotic right now. Eric is moving, not moving out, like he's moving his tools. He's like downsizing, getting rid of things. Like we just got back from Florida. We ourselves are talking about kind of a change for us. We're trying to do some different things. So life has been a little chaotic, to say the least. I am trying to get everything done. I have just noticed that about myself, when I'm out of town at a show, I have every intention of doing things after the show. And this is how it's always been. I'm like, I can edit a video. I can update the website. I can do whatever. I am so tired by the time I get done with a show that by the end of the night, all I want to do is eat, shower, and go to bed. So having that week away, I got the bare minimum done. I now have a super long to-do list. I'm trying to get everything done. Like I have to write down that I need to activate a credit card. Like, cause I will forget everything. My brain is mush. I'm doing everything that I can. And I appreciate that a lot of you appreciate that. And some of you you don't run a business. And so sometimes you don't always realize I do the majority of the work. Barb ships, Eric cut stuff, but I'm the one that does everything else. The website, the editing videos, all that kind of stuff. I am not complaining. I'm just trying to let you know, bring you into my world a little bit. So when I tell you I'm going to get something done, it's not that I don't want to get it done. It's just that I am one person trying to do 800 things at once. And I have a lot of energy, but also I have no energy. I am an enigma. I don't know. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate all of you. So, I think that's it. Anybody have any questions before we get into kind of our Daytona recap? Oh, thank you. Well, I appreciate that you guys are enjoying the videos and watching and keeping up. And it definitely feels weird that over the last 3 months, I haven't been posting every single day because, as a lot of you know, I spent 2023 posting. I made it a goal to post every single day, and it made me feel very relevant and like I was out there and I was like doing everything. But there were some days that were stressful, and so I have been a little bit more lax. I've been kind of trying to post every other day, but you know, like a lot of our trip in Daytona, there wasn't a lot to say. It was me and the dogs, you know, or it was us driving. So I'm trying to get back into that and like posting and stuff and giving you lots of content, but sometimes I get tired and I just don't have the energy to do that. And lately there's been so much going on around here that like I barely have the energy to decide what I'm having for dinner. We have not cooked since we've been home. Like we've had takeout every single night because I just don't even have the energy to go to the grocery store. That's where I'm at. My brain isn't mush. I have more knowledge to store. I will take that. I think my brain is like it's expanded to its limits. It can't hold anymore. So Chili, yes, I do need help. The problem with needing help is that I have to explain to everybody, like, or whoever would be helping me, how to do a lot of things that I just end up saying, I'll just do it myself. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. It's the joys of being a very stubborn pain that I am. I want help, but I want to do it my way. So, yeah, fun. I'm just petting my dog right now because she looks so peaceful and happy. So the other one is also peaceful, but she's on the other side of the room. So let's talk about Daytona. Let's talk about Daytona in general, but also quilt shows and kind of where I'm at. So let me preface this conversation by saying that if anything I say comes across in like a negative way, I don't mean it that way. I am not here to complain by any means. I'm not trying to be like, ugh. It's just, I'm honest with you. I'm always honest with you. I tell you guys everything. You know, there's very little about me that I don't share with you when it comes to my business. And so I just kind of want to give you the perspective from my point of view as a business owner and as someone that hasn't done a quilt show in 4 years. So let's rewind a little bit. From about 2015 all the way up until literally 2 weeks before COVID shut everything down. Like the very last week of February 29th, it was a leap year. February 29th was the last day of the last quilt show that we did. And it was ironically Daytona Beach. We finished on the 29th. We went home. We had a surprise party for my mother. It was supposed to be an amazing year. My mom turned 60. I turned 40. My sister was turning 21. And then everything changed because of COVID. The good part about that was that I was getting really burned out. I was getting completely and utterly burned out, but I was at a point where I wouldn't admit that. And I also didn't want to fully see it because when you are wrapped up in traveling nonstop but you're making money, that's the only thing you think about. You're like, but I was making money. I got to do it. I can't say no. And I lived in a world where I said no to pretty much nobody. The people I didn't take care of at that time were myself and my husband. I just figured we're married, everything will be fine. And I figured I don't need to take care of myself because I'll figure it out later. My business needs me. These shows need me. I'm making money. I have to keep doing them. And I was so completely burned out. I never fully unpacked my suitcase. I would come home, change out my clothes, wash them, throw them back in a suitcase, and in about another 2 or 3 weeks, leave for another show. And it was a very chaotic life that I had no intention of ever getting into, but it happened because what happens is you go to a show, you do a couple of shows. When you're at that show, somebody else comes up, and this is still true to this day, and they're like, hey, you do shows? Why don't you come to our show? Oh, you're here at this time? Well, our show is next week. You could do them back to back. Because the person giving you that information they're running one show. They're doing one show a year, maybe every other year. They're not in the part of it that I was in. They're not worrying about the inventory and running a website and doing all the other stuff. So on my end, I'm like, well, I don't want to say no, because what if that's the opportunity? What if that show, which I have the time off, I'm here already, I can fit it in my schedule. What if that is the show? That is the show that makes me so much money, or that's the show that gets me an opportunity. So if I say no, it's kind of that fear of missing out. What if I don't go and I should have gone? It was the better place for me to be. So I just kept saying yes. And at one point, depending on the year, because some shows were every other year, a lot of them were every year, I would do on average 15 to 20 shows in a year. That is too many. That is too many when you are trying to salvage what you have left of a personal life. It is too many when you are trying to run a business from a home base, when you have people working for you, when you are shipping orders, having a website. It's too much. It's way too much. And I just saw a comment from Becky, and she totally gets it. And that's the thing, is that when you're on your side of the table looking at the vendors, and when you are a vendor, it's two very different things. And that is not to say that in a negative way, but it's just we deal with different issues than you guys deal with. So I was so burned out, but I was just at that point that I was like, but I'm doing amazing financially. I have to keep doing this. When COVID shut down, I was in a full panic because one show got canceled. A few days later, 2 more shows got canceled, and it just kept going. And then all of a sudden, 2021 was canceled. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I have now a year and a half, almost 2 years that I don't have these financial benefits of going to shows. What am I going to do with myself? And then I started to stay home, and I got a YouTube channel, and I did different things with the website, and we were all home, so we kept each other company, and business was good. And I thought, I don't want to travel anymore. It finally dawned on me how tired I was of never being home. I finally realized that I didn't want to keep saying, no, I can't come to that because I'm going to be in another state. And everybody would always say, oh, wow, you're going to Florida? Oh, that's going to be so great. What a nice vacation. I'm like, it's not a vacation. I'm working. I'm working. I'm not doing anything vacation. The most vacation thing I'm doing is going out to dinner. I can also do that here. So it just got to the point where I was so exhausted. And then COVID was kind of a beautiful bonus that happened, that yes, it was horrible for a lot of people, and yes, it was not something that like any of us wished for, but it happened, and it gave a lot of benefits that I didn't have before. You guys got your Friday lives. I have a YouTube channel, which is so fun to now go to a show and say I have a video for that. So I had all those things. So now we'll fast forward to the end. Well, it was started in the beginning, but it was the end of 2022. I signed up for So Magical. I had no idea what I was getting into. Zero clue. I was like, okay, everybody is saying that like a lot of bag makers go to this. Like I've heard that Lauren Mormino goes, and like it looks like Nicole from Sonar is going. Okay, let's try this. I don't know Kayla. I don't know these shows. I don't know anything, but let's try it. Now at this point, I'd already sold my van. I wanted to do all of this out of my SUV, and I have an Atlas, a Volkswagen Atlas. It's not a huge SUV, but I wanted to do the show, and I wanted to see if I could do a show with bare minimum. Let's bring cork, patterns, a couple other things here and there. I had started doing templates. I had a little bit of zippers, nothing crazy. Let's try it out. My mom was retired. Let's go. We went to So Magical, and we had an amazing time. It was great. I met amazing people like Becky and Lauren and Nicole, and I got to be part of a different community, and I loved it. And I was like, okay, this works for me. So I signed up for 3 shows in 2023, all So Magicals. I signed up for all 3 of her locations that year, and we did great. It was fantastic. So now my husband, I love him. My husband said, I think you need to try a quilt show again. I think that we need to try a quilt show to see if you get that same reaction. Can you do a booth with a lot less product, with not having an 8-hour setup, not bringing grid wall and, hooks and hooks of hardware and bringing every single zipper color that you own? Can we do that at a show, but a different kind of show? And I was hesitant for good reason. I hadn't done a quilt show in a long time. I don't consider myself a quilter anymore because I haven't quilted in forever. I don't even promote my quilt patterns anymore. I still sell them on the website, but I don't talk about them. We have all come together on this channel as bag makers. And so I was thinking, this could be a really fun thing, but also this could be a huge letdown. And this is one of those times where I don't want Eric to be right. I don't want to be right. I wanted Eric to be right. That doesn't happen a lot either. But if we go to a quilt show and it's a total bomb, Yeah, I proved my point. I told you quilt shows weren't for us, but that also means I lose a lot of money. So I have been hesitant. I have been very anxious. I am riddled with anxiety on every day. Like my everyday level of anxiety is at about an 11. So I was at like a 25 at this point. I was like, we're going. I don't know what to expect. This could be the worst decision we've ever made. So let's see. Let's see how it goes. I let Eric pick, and Eric picked Daytona. His reasoning, obviously, we live in New York. Who doesn't want to go to Florida in February and get away from snow? That was a great reason. His other reason is that we like Daytona. We're comfortable because we've both been there so many times. We know where the restaurants are and Starbucks and all the places, and we know where Target is if we need something. Everything was comfortable. Plus, one of the things with shows is load in and load out can make or break your entire show experience. Even though you might only have an hour or two to set up your booth because we've pared it down so much, what if load in and load out is awful? And there were some shows where it was a nightmare. It was the worst thing ever. I would wake up on like the last day of the show and just go, oh my God, I can't believe I have to do this. Well, Daytona, nothing has changed there. We know how it is to load in and load out, and it's easy. It's a piece of cake. It's very, very simple to do. So let's do Daytona. So we signed up. I forgot how incredibly expensive booths are at quilt shows, especially because Kayla spoils us at So Magical. She keeps everything very reasonable so that we can actually profit, so that people want to keep coming back. Unfortunately, the quilt shows don't. They don't always, and I know everyone has their reasons. I'm not saying people are price gouging, maybe they are, but the booth fee is more than double what it is at So Magical. And I paid that all up front and said, whew, that was a lot of money. That was a whole lot of money. Now it's time to prep for the show. I need electrical. You have to pay for that separately. They give you less tables than I'm used to because, again, I used to have a van full of tables. And also, again, Kayla spoils us and we have access to tables much easier. So they send out the package, and I didn't realize it was $100 per table to rent it for 4 days. 4 days. I don't even get to take that table home, and it cost me $100. So now we got to start rethinking because I'm cheap and I refuse to spend like $400, $500 on something that isn't mine. I'm going to bring tables. So we're planning for that. Everything kind of just became more than I had anticipated because I have been so out of this. So we got all set up, we did our thing. I noticed that because of COVID and because of changes in businesses and everything, and keep in mind, the last 4 years have been a challenge for many businesses. A lot of businesses aren't there anymore. They have changed their staff so much that from the time I signed up in November to getting there in February, I already had a different contact for the vendor committee, like for the vendor chairperson. I didn't even know that it had changed until a week before. Teaching, the person for that had changed twice in the last 4 years. Everything was kind of changed. We didn't get our booth numbers as quickly as we normally do. We didn't get our information as quickly as we normally do. And when I say normal, I'm comparing it to 4 years ago because how can I not? It's hard to not compare to what I've already done. I'm not trying to compare numbers. I'm going to, but I'm trying not to. But I'm comparing all of the other stuff. And I was like, okay, it's a couple weeks before the show and I don't have a booth number. And then I got a booth number and the booth number changed. And then, there's all these like different plans to kind of make. So we got there. I was being as positive and as happy as I could. But again, I was super anxious. And when I'm anxious, I get a little edgy and I try not to, but I'm just like, ugh. So we got all set up. Everything was fine. We spent 3 hours total, including a trip to Target, which wasn't bad. I decided to go get another table last minute because I had an extra tablecloth. And everything was great. We got set up. And from a financial aspect, yes, we made money. The show was profitable. Everything worked out from that point of view. So I didn't come out of it upset because I lost money. Everything worked out in that way. But there were a lot of things that made me feel that maybe this isn't the venue for me. I'm not saying I will never go back. I'm just kind of saying maybe I need to reevaluate where I go. And I think this year is going to be the year of me trying some different companies and some different locations and different venues and seeing which one fits in for our future. One of the things that I was super hesitant about, and I knew that it was going to be an issue, I just didn't know if it was going to be a small issue or a major issue, is the fact that I have done this show before. And when I did this show before, my booth looked dramatically different. My booth had way more hardware. It had quilts hanging up everywhere. It had even more. I brought every single pattern that I wrote. Like, if I wrote that pattern, it was hanging up. I brought all of them with me. We had tons of hardware. We had frames for the Diva wallets. We had anything that you could need. We had a whole grid wall of zippers, every color of zipper. We would try to bring a little bit of everything. So, excuse me. So in doing, Daytona 2024 and So Many Creations, the revised version, we didn't have any of that. And I knew that it was going to be an issue for some people, that they were going to come to me thinking it's the people that we talked to and it's the same booth from 4 years ago. And it was not. For the most part, most people would say, "Oh, did you bring hardware?" And I'm like, we have a bin, a little tiny bin with just a few little like hardware kits for some of the more popular patterns. We didn't go overboard. Like literally, I had a basket like this. That was it. And thank you to whoever took all of the stuff out of the bags and dumped it out for me. That was not helpful, but that's okay. That was literally what we had. Not 3, 4, 5, 8 by 4, panels of grid wall. We had a basket because I am used to doing So Magical events where bag makers are there and they're like, I already have my own hardware, or I already buy my hardware from someone else, or I have a stash, or I don't need any hardware. We get asked every so often, but hardly ever. And usually I'm there and I'm like, well, they have hardware, they have zippers, so it's totally fine. I knew that being in a quilt show, that quilters who are not as big into bag making or are just getting into bag making, maybe do it as like a side, like they quilt and they bag make, they usually want everything. But I can't bring everything because we don't have that kind of vehicle anymore. So most people were decent about it and would ask, and I'd say no, or we have a couple of things, or oh, you're getting that pattern, I think we have some hardware, let me see what colors we have left. But then there were a few people that, to say they expressed their disappointment is an understatement. And again, I'm not saying this to complain or to be rude, but sometimes just because you feel a certain way doesn't mean that you have to tell everybody and be mad about it. It doesn't mean that you have to have somewhat of a hissy fit, because it won't change anything. There were a few people who expressed their disappointment rather loudly about how they couldn't believe I didn't even bring hardware. And I'm sorry, but also I can only do what I can do. So that was what I was expecting. I feel lucky that it didn't happen as much as I expected, but it was kind of disappointing. When you're standing in your business, your collection of things that you're proud of, and you hear people saying negative, rude things, it never makes you feel good. It's crazy, I know, but it never makes you go, oh, thank you. You just kind of, I didn't know what was going on over there. You just kind of go, okay, I'm going to try to smile and walk away because I don't want to be frustrated and I don't want to feel bad about myself right now. I have a whole day that I need to smile and be nice. So, tip number 1, express your frustrations quietly to your friends outside of the booth. You don't have to tell the people there how much they have ruined your day. It doesn't help. So that was something I was waiting for. It is what it is. So I don't know. There were just a couple times that my husband is very sweet, and will try to kind of protect me from it. So if he hears something, he will not share it with me until much later, because he doesn't want to be like, that lady over there. Like, he's really good about it. And I know that there's also things sometimes that he doesn't tell me because he doesn't want me to like have hurt feelings about it. But, it's it's a bummer. It really is, because you feel like you did the best job that you could, and someone has to say, but you didn't. You could have done better. And that just kind of stinks. So if you're ever at a show yourself where you're selling things, just know that I know how you feel, and ignore it as best as you can, because what will happen is wonderful people will come into your booth and say things to you like, you taught me how to put in a recessed zipper. Or, oh my God, I follow you and I'm in your Facebook group, and look at the bag that I made, and look at this bag that I finished last night, and I want to talk to you, and they want to give you a hug, and they tell you that your channel is great, and they tell you that it's so nice to see you in person and to see all your bags. And you have somebody that comes in and goes, I have every one of your patterns. When did you write this one? And when you say it's, I just wrote it in January, I don't have that one, I need it. That's the best part of the whole thing. That is the reason you do the shows. You do the shows to make the money, but you do the shows to make the connections. And that is absolutely the best part of the shows. So I see a few bless your hearts. Trust me, we say it enough when we're in the South. Sometimes we say it when we're not in the South, but yeah, that's just kind of bless everyone's heart that was mad about hardware. I'm sorry, you guys are killing me. I'm looking at some of your comments and you're making me laugh. Yes. You guys are really cracking me up. Oh, yes, your mom. I did not know whose mom that was. So, okay, another just beautiful story. I'm in my booth and I see a woman who I recognize, and I know that I don't know her, but I know that I recognize her, and it was because she was a teacher, and I had looked at the teacher's roster and I saw her face, and I was like, and then I looked at her name tag and I said, okay, that's how I know who she is. We don't know each other, but she was so sweet. And she came over and she said, my daughter sent me over to your booth. She said, and she takes her phone, do you have this? And I said, I have that. Because it was the box corner template. And then she said, hold on. And she goes, do you have this? And it was just one of those just fun, like, she was shopping for somebody else and she was having such a great time. She was like, what about this? And so we were having one of those conversations. And those are the things that will literally make my day. The people that I got to meet, I had somebody, and I'm so sorry. If you're watching, please let me know. I can't remember what her first name is, but she walked up. She said she doesn't comment a lot, but I want her to. She walked up to me and she was with her husband, and she just kind of went, I totally stalk you online and I love your videos. And I was like, I love that for you. I was like, do you want to give me a hug? And she's like, I do. And it was just one of these moments, like, it was just so sweet, because I have been on the other side of that and have said things like that. And I know it's hard because you don't know what to say. Like, you don't want to just be like, I follow you. So when you say I stalk you, I know that you don't mean in a literal sense, but it's like a funny haha, like, I totally stalk all your stuff online. I've said that to people before and I've gotten this look. But me, you will never offend me by saying that, because I just think it's amazing. I'm like, thank you. Thank you for watching my videos and liking them and following me. That makes me tremendously happy. Vicky, I saw a Vicky, I don't know if it's the same Vicky. Vicky stopped by and I saw her bag and immediately knew, I was like, I know that bag. She had a beautiful Georgia on. She said, look, I made a Julia last night, like literally before she came to the show. And we chatted about cork and we talked about stuff, and it was so, we literally stalk you. That's fine. I don't think I'm that interesting, but if you do, I by all means stalk away. It's just, those are the reactions when you're like, you know somebody from online, and like, I know you, I feel like I know a lot of you, I see your posts and I see your bags, but to get to meet you and put a name to the face. Elena, I don't think Elena's here right now, but she usually watches later. Elena came over, I got to meet her husband and her son, and we just sat and talked for, like, I feel like it was an hour. Like, it was just one of those things. She was like, we came down, like, I was like, we gotta go, I need to talk to her, I want to meet her. And like, we were talking about her starting her own pattern line and like what she's got going on, and talking about like her life and my life, and I love that. I absolutely love that. If you meet me randomly in public at like a grocery store, you will be certain that I hate people, that I am just a horrible, I just am a curmudgeon and I hate everybody. But literally, when I am talking about the thing that I love, which is my business and making bags and cork, I will talk to you for 17 hours if you want. That is why I do YouTube every Friday about nothing, because I love talking about that. Do not invite me to a party with a bunch of random strangers. I won't talk to them. I will find a dog and sit in the corner. But you want to talk to me about cork? You want to talk to me about what color hardware I love the best or what pattern I'm designing? We're best friends, and I will talk to you for the rest of eternity. So those are the things that were just unbelievable, and I loved all that. One of the things that I didn't care for, and I mean, I don't have to say it, but again, I'm very transparent. When I used to do all these shows, I used to do all of the AQS shows. They would have 6 a year, I did 6. They had 8, I did 8, whatever they did. And I felt like I was part of a family. I felt like very much like I fit in. I knew all their names. I knew even the people that I didn't associate with. Like, I know the guy's name that takes, check in at the door, and I knew all these people. They recognized me. I taught for them. I vended for them. And this time, because I had taken some time off and come back, I didn't feel like I was part of a family anymore. I didn't feel that same warm reception. I didn't know as many people. I felt kind of awkward, and I didn't feel like I fit in. And I don't like that feeling. It's, I'm not, you may think that I'm outgoing, and I'm actually very much an introvert. And when I am in a situation where I don't know people or I feel uncomfortable, I tend to shut down. I get very quiet. Sometimes I get a little pissy. I just am not the outgoing person that I appear to be. And I felt that in my heart. I just was sitting there like, I don't fit in here. I feel like I am the odd kid in school trying to sit at the jock table. It didn't fit. And so I don't know if I feel like the future with me and AQS shows are really vibing. I don't know that we fit together as much anymore, but I had such a good time and I enjoyed every other aspect that I do feel like trying some other quilt shows are definitely things that like I want to try. I definitely want to try other quilt shows or other sewing expos and different kinds of things and see where I do fit and see what we can fit into a year. I would love to do a handful of shows during the year and not pigeonhole myself into only one kind. I only do quilt shows and I only do this company's quilt shows. Why not try an expo here and a different kind of expo there and something else there and be open and flexible to different things? I think that is a better way to go because I don't want to get into the habit again of saying yes to everybody and being miserable about it. There were a few ladies who were absolutely delightful. It was not them, but they were like, oh, we have a quilt show. It's a smaller guild show. It's like a Saturday, Sunday in a different part of Florida. You should come to that. Well, if I lived in Florida, that might be different. But when you're traveling that far, it takes us 2 days to drive to Florida. I can't justify driving for 2 days, vending for 2 days, and going home and driving for 2 days. I can't be on the road longer than I'm at the show. It just doesn't, just because it fits schedule-wise, doesn't mean that it is the right decision for me to do. I've done some guild shows. There's one a few hours from here that I can get to in a day and get home from in a day. That's a little bit different. And sometimes just because something on your side kind of seems like it fits in a schedule doesn't mean that it does. Somebody was talking to me about a show in the first week of February, and then you can come here. Well, the first week of February and the last week of February are very far apart. I can't be away from my home for an entire month to have a show in the beginning and a show in the end. So, and that's logic, but there were many times 4 years ago that I would have been like, I could probably make that work. And I'm not doing that anymore. I have kind of made my goal for 2024 to put myself first because I've never done that. And it feels tremendously selfish, but I need to remind myself that it's not selfish. I am doing what needs to be done to do the best for my business and to do the best for myself. And that's a hard thing for all of us, and I'm still struggling with it. This is the absolute hardest thing, with everybody, with everything. I'm sure a lot of you can relate. You want to do the thing for yourself and you want to do what you need to do, but it makes you feel guilty. So, I'm kind of in that point where I'm like, it's my turn. It's okay to put myself first. As long as I don't become, a self-centered, horrible human being because of it, it's fine. It's okay to be my number one priority most days. That's totally fine. So I'm rambling. I'm going to read some of your comments, and then if you have any questions, I will answer those. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to tell you, particularly about the show. So, okay, so Susie, I wanted to comment on this too. Susie said the public should be thankful that the vendors come to their area to give them the opportunity to go somewhere. And I feel that very deeply. And this is another thing that it's a thing I've been noticing a lot at shows, but also online, is it's human nature to want what you want when you want it. We all do it even if we don't want to do it. For example, you go to a restaurant, you've been to this restaurant before, you want that menu item you've ordered before because it was delicious. That's the one you want. And you go there and you notice, well, it's not on the menu anymore. So your first instinct is, oh, boo-hoo for me. I'm mad because I'm not getting my way. That's normal. But being annoyed by that fact and just kind of like, man, I came here for this delicious sandwich and they don't have it anymore. That bums me out. There's two different roads to take. The first one is, let me figure out something else. I might find something even better, or I'll get it somewhere else. Or there's the not so great way of voicing your opinion to the people that work there to make sure that they know how disappointed you are that that sandwich isn't on the menu anymore. What you have to keep in mind is maybe you were the only one that ordered it. Maybe it wasn't popular. Maybe it doesn't work for them. And that's kind of how I felt with like the hardwares and the zippers, because I have a price sign and zippers are on the price sign because sometimes we bring them and a couple people were like, well, I don't see any zippers. Okay, let's work on, am I missing zippers somewhere? Instead of, I don't see any zippers. There's a difference in the approach. And most people, when I was like, right, we didn't bring any this time. Unfortunately, we just didn't have the room. Okay, and they move on. It's the ones that dwell on it, that want to get a reaction out of you because they're disappointed, that it eats at you. And just remember, that vendor, that restaurant owner, that whatever, has to continue the rest of their day and try to be nice to people. Try not to throw the selfishness in there where it ruins it for somebody else. So I agree, Susie, that it's, yes, be thankful we're here, but also just understand that we might not do every little thing that you want us to do, or maybe our business has changed in 4 years and different things have changed. There's a lot of things. Some people are amazing at seeing things from other people's point of views, and some people aren't. And that is the mix you get when dealing with the public. It's the unfortunate part. But I say this, for any of you that want to do shows, just know a lot of people are going to be amazing and nice to you, and some of them aren't. And yeah, it's not always easy, but you have to just go, okay, I'm done. I'm done with this conversation. Yeah, and Kim, that is a great point. When people act like that, I tend to wonder what they have going on in their lives that makes them act like that. And that is another thing I'm trying to also think of as well, because I myself have left the house to go to the grocery store and been in a bad mood. I'm arguing with Eric, something didn't go my way, whatever it is. Was I just mean to that cashier for no reason? That wasn't their fault. I was in a bad mood and had nothing to do with them. But now they're wondering, did I do something wrong? And it's hard. So you try, but sometimes there are things going on. And I understand sometimes people have things going on in their life. We will never know. It's not our place to know. And sometimes people are just born just giant buttholes. I mean, it's just the way it is sometimes. So, okay, so it was not this Vicky that was in Daytona, and that's totally fine, but I'm glad that you're here anyway. I'm glad that you're all here. Bonnie said, you're telling us things about vending that we need to know. It's very enlightening. I've always appreciated the amount of time and work it requires to vend at shows. Yes, so one of the other things to keep in mind, I am not getting any younger. I know some of you are like, oh, please. Well, I'm not getting any younger. I am only progressively getting older. These shows are not doing anything great for my body, and doing all those shows one after another for all those years, I started out with major back issues. I have had back problems my whole life. Those shows did not make them any better. Taking a break has actually helped. I have been in a lot less pain, and I have been moving around a lot better than I used to, which is great. But what I realized, because I haven't really done it to this extent in so long, I forgot to bring a mat with me. So we were standing on concrete, and my husband, as a lot of you know, is diabetic and has a lot of problems with his feet. So I make him sit for as long as possible because I know the concrete's really rough on him. I stood almost the entire day for 4 days. It doesn't matter what shoes you wear. It does not matter at all what you are wearing on your feet. When you are standing on concrete for 8 to 9 hours without sitting, your body hurts. And my body hurt. And then 2 days of sitting in a car, then busting our butts to get the booth set up and running all over the place. And then our Airbnb was actually on the second floor, which was fine. I didn't know that, but taking the dogs up and down the stairs the whole time. We don't have stairs at our house. We have just an open door to the patio. Taking the dogs up and down the stairs, then let's stand for 8, 9 hours on our feet. It's exhausting. So not only is it the logistical, like, let's get the stuff there, let's unload, let's pack stuff. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. I have a ridiculous individual item checklist on my phone where I check off, like, did you bring the square reader, but did you bring the square paper? Like, I check every single thing off to make sure that I know where it is. Now I'm killing my body for an entire week. Like, I was just in agony the entire week. And then sitting in a car for 2 days, you go from one extreme to the next. It's a lot of work. And talking all day, answering the same questions, having conversations, it does wear you out. Mentally, you kind of get done at the end of the day and you're like, how about if we don't talk anymore? Like, how about we don't recap on the ride home? I just want to not talk for a while. So always know that the vendors they're doing a lot. They have a lot of stuff going on from before you even get there until after you're gone for the day. So I appreciate those of you that get that. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of stuff. So let's see here. I feel what you're saying in my soul. We probably are the same person. No, and Lori, that is a really good point, and that is why sometimes I don't know why I even bother to say it. Lori said people will never look from your perspective. And that is true. And it's not in like a bad way, but it's the same thing. Like, for instance, are you going to start carrying vinyl? No, because it doesn't fit into my business. Oh, and you kind of get that like, why didn't you bring every piece of hardware to the show? Because we couldn't fit it. So it's just kind of those little things that it's hard, and you try. And I feel like some of us can see it from other people's perspectives, especially if you have owned a business. You understand the ups and downs. You understand that right now, financial times are not good for small businesses. A lot of small businesses are struggling. I can name 10 of them off the top of my head that I've had conversations with that are struggling right now. There's a lot that goes into every decision that we make. There's a lot that we have to do. I know Nicole had posted something a while back about, I got into business to be a pattern designer, but now I also have to, I have to do all these other things, and I have to be on social media. We didn't think that this was a thing in the beginning. There's so many different avenues that you have to, navigate, and you have to figure out what works for you. It's not for everybody, and you have to just know that a lot of people will never understand what you're saying. They will never see it from your point of view, and they only see what you want or what they want, not what you want. And so you just embrace the wonderful people, like those of you watching right now, those of you that come and give me a hug and talk to me and tell me, you leave me notes in the notes section that just say, I love your patterns, or this is a great template. You appreciate those people so much more than you ever could before, because you've seen the opposite side of it. You've seen the people that will walk up to your booth and say, I hate this pattern, it's the worst thing I've ever read. And you're like, well, that's delightful, thank you. What do you want me to say to that? And then you have someone that's like, look at all, I am covered in your bags. I am buying more cork. Look at these pictures. And they want to show you pictures on their phone and they want to tell you what they're making. And you just absolutely love them and virtually hug them like Shelly is right now. And you just say, thank you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for not making anything harder because somebody else has already claimed that job. Let's not add to it. let's be nice human beings. And it's not always easy. So Sally is doing a show tomorrow. So we're all going to send good vibes to Sally. Sell out of everything. Have a great day. And Sally, I hope the amazing people so far outweigh anything negative that you don't even think about it. I know you. You have a great laugh and a smile and you are a happy person and I think you're going to do amazing. I hope you sell everything and I hope you have great conversations. And if anybody is not nice to you, you tell them to talk to me and I will tell them how it is because they need to knock it off. So, okay, Marie, your comment just stopped me. We build custom airboats. That's as far as I got. You build custom airboats? I don't even know what that is, but it sounds really intense. My husband refuses to go to shows for those reasons. I get it. I totally get it because the first time, it's really weird, so many things that kind of wrap up to Daytona. The first time I went to Daytona, I had only done a handful of shows before that. This was like the first time I was like really getting into shows. Literally, this woman walked up to me and just said the meanest, rudest things to me. There was no segue into it. She just walked up and just laid into me and I was like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. This doesn't seem like fun. And it was like day one of the show. And I thought, okay, I'm about ready to quit. I'm going to pack up my stuff and leave. And it was horrible. I still remember that conversation because she was so mean. And I just thought, this is awful. I don't want to do this. And then I taught a class at that show and I watched all of these people make something and be so happy about it and tell me, we love you, we love how you teach and this is great. We can't wait to see you again and we're coming to your booth. And I let it go. I forgot about it, but I totally understand anyone who's hesitant to do shows like that. I get it. I totally get it because sometimes people are just awful. And I've gotten much thicker skin over the years. I also am an incredibly sarcastic, smart-mouthed New Yorker, and most of the time my response when people say things like that, I'm like, that's great. Thanks for sharing that insightful information. And I'm burning inside, but I'm like, you know? So I get it. I totally get it. Anyone that's like, I don't know, be ready, but also know that you will have so many good people that are like, that is such a great product. Tell me more. I had a conversation with a man about rocks, okay? Like, it's, you know, it's great. So, yes, email me pictures, always. Try to remember that when someone says no, when I really want a yes. Yeah, exactly. And Sherry, you nailed it right here. You're not for everyone, and that's okay. And you're right, and I'm not. And YouTube has let me know that very much by the amount of people that leave comments and say, why are you here? Why is this video just you talking about nothing? Because I can. That's why. I don't really have another bit of information for you because we can all choose to do what we want. And I choose to try and put positivity into the world and to make bags and to enjoy my life. And if you choose to just be a miserable butthole, that is on you, and I'm real sorry that that is your lot in life, but do with that what you want. Oh, and thank you for prompting me to apologize to a few folks for past interactions. You know what? I will say, as somebody who has gotten a handful of apologies over the years, I will never be mad that you apologized. If you take the time and say, I'm sorry, I treated you badly, or I said something, out of pocket, or I was rude to you and it had nothing to do with you. I'm sorry goes a long way. And it's totally okay that we all have bad days. I've even apologized to cashiers before. I snapped at somebody one day in a grocery store and I said, I'm sorry. I said, that was rude. It has nothing to do with you. And this poor young child was like, it's okay. I'm like, please don't be upset. I'm having a bad day. You're doing a great job. Don't worry about it. I'm also that person that will find a manager to tell them something nice. I did that in a Panera's not that long ago, and the woman thought I was about ready to like go off, and I was like, no, 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 this is a nice thing. I just want to tell you, your staff was really amazing. You're doing a great job. And she said, that's the nicest thing anyone said to me in a long time. Thank you. So those are always nice things to say too. So, let's see here. Don't you think retreats would be better for your sanity? Yes and no. I love doing our virtual retreats. I don't foresee them stopping. I mean, we have 8 of them scheduled for this year. Retreats in person, I love the interactions. I love being around people. That's like that's the fun thing. But it's a weird stress because I'm always afraid that I have to think of things that I'm selling, but also things that I'm working on, and then hoping that everything goes smoothly with all the other stuff. And so I love retreats, but nothing I do is not stressful. There's a stress in everything. Even writing a pattern comes with like a stress. So I try to find the things that bring the least amount of stress, but also the most amount of happiness. And there's always going to be a balance. So I do love doing retreats. This year I don't have any in person because it just didn't work. It didn't work schedule wise. And everything that I have tried to do, that I tried to add on, I've already had something going on. I don't know who wrote my calendar this year, but they did a terrible job. It was me. So, and that's okay, Marie. Marie, I don't know if you live near Daytona or hold on. I don't know if you live near Jacksonville, but if you're in a good spot, then you can come to Jacksonville in September. I think it's going to be fun. I'm very excited. I'll tell you the amount of people that were like, oh, you're going to Jacksonville? I was like, this is a lot of excitement over something I haven't signed up for yet. Let's do it. Let's see how it goes. So I love it. Nancy said, I am enough, I am loved, and I am a blessing. I agree. I absolutely agree. So Cindy's husband will be 70 and her son will be 40. Listen, that was our 2020. We had 3 special birthdays, and my mom's the only one that got to have a nice birthday party. My sister and I got to sit on her couch. And that wasn't that much fun. And I don't stress on the virtuals. Chili, I'm actually very excited. The most stress is how much noise these dogs are going to make. So, come here. Hi. Do you want to say hello? You're not sure? Oh, thank you. So, we will close out because I did not realize that it was 12:02. I just have to tell you something adorable about my favorite little gremlins in my life, because you all know that I love my dogs. So, when we drove to Nashville last year, we took my car, which was fine. I held 2 dogs on my laps the entire time, which was not the most comfortable, but it was okay. And this one right here hates the car. She is not a good rider. She's not a good vacationer. She gets very anxious in the car. Yes, we have tried everything humanly possible, including medication from the vet, and nothing helps. So we got a Suburban before we left for Florida, and we thought, let's see if this helps. Gives me a little bit more room to pack, but also let's try it out. Because it has a bigger center console, we were able to put a blanket and a pillow on it, and it became her spot. She was calm. She actually did so well in the car. There was minimal panting. She actually slept, which she never does. She never sleeps in the car. She's always alert and like crazy and awake. It was so good. Zoe can sleep anywhere, and Zoe loves the car. Roxy, on the other hand, not so much. We also brought her tennis ball, and that definitely helped. It like kept her calm, and it was fantastic. And if you saw the little video, the little reel that I posted when we were in North Carolina, we stopped to see my sister, and we stayed at a hotel down the road from her, and they had I guess the best carpet ever. It was like textured and soft, and Zoe has been obsessed with it. Like she would just stop in the middle of doing something and roll around on the carpet. So we bought her some little carpet tile to play with on the floor, and it's not the same. And if she was a person that could talk, she would tell me, you tried, but you didn't do a good job. And that's where I'm at with my dogs right now. And the mailman came and nobody barked, so I'm happy. I saw one more thing I wanted to read, and then I think we're gonna call it a day. Yes, your dog. Well, Chili, your dogs bark, but mine obsessively, annoyingly bark during the virtuals because that's just what they do. Um, okay, Okeechobee. You live in Okeechobee. That's a fun one to say. Yeah, I don't know. We've never had a dog that hated the car this much. This dog gets in and just pants constantly, and it doesn't matter if we're going 5 minutes down the road or 19 hours away. She's just unhappy, but she did so good. So get yourselves a bigger car with a bigger console to make your dogs happy is the moral of that story. Oh, Lori, that's what I wanted to say. Lori, I'm so sorry that I didn't send you a message. Your friend did come over and give me the keychain, and it's in my purse because I didn't want to, excuse me, forget to acknowledge you and send you an email, and then I did. So here is my big acknowledgement for you. Thank you. That was super sweet, and what a great delivery. I have a delivery for you, and I was like, okay. And Lori was at QuiltCon and sent me a little present. So I thought that was super sweet. So thank you. Thank you so much. And Okeechobee means big water. Huh. Okeechobee. That is just a fun thing to say. I'm going to be saying that all day. So I think that's it. Our virtual retreat starts in a few hours. I have nothing prepped as usual. So I'm going to go do some prep work and throw in a load of laundry. And that's it. I will see some of you later, and I will see the rest of you next Friday. And hopefully you will get a newsletter this week with all of the random things that I told you today, minus the nonsense. So that is it. I am calling it a day. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend and join us for another virtual. We have one in April. All right. Bye.